Welcome back to another prediction. Today we are going to be breaking down the 2022 election for the Senate. It's going to be very vital to the country's vital interest, and that is that we are going to be able to stop Joe Biden's radical leftist and Marxist agenda. Nah, I'm just kidding. Still, though, it is somewhat important. So I'm going to be filling out some important states here that a lot of people will not even mention in their videos, but we might as well. And the only state that is going to flip out of any of these is literally none. Okay, so again, filling out the safe states. If you argue about the legitimacy of either any of these elections, you're retarded. Insofar as obviously Illinois is going to go blue, Oregon, Washington. I mean, if any of these go red, I'm going to be very pleasantly surprised. Okay. Anyways, we're going to move on and go ahead and fill out some nice states here. I personally believe that Alabama, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, North Dakota, Idaho, Utah, Louisiana, South Carolina, Kentucky, Missouri, Indiana, plus Alaska will all go red. In fact, I will say that California, controversial take, California will go blue. Big surprise. Now, I could really break down every Senate election, but I really don't want to. It's pretty boring stuff. But what I will cover is some of these safe states that have dynamic primaries. One of these also include the state of Alaska, which has Lisa Murkowski, a rhino, a really bad Republican. In fact, she's a lot worse than Suzanne Collins, because at least Suzanne Collins is in a blue northeastern state, whereas, Lisa Murkowski is, they're not sending their best. They're sending rhinos, old women. Who likes old women, bro? Useless. Anyways, we have a floor of 44 seats. The Democrats have a floor of 45. That might sound kind of ridiculous, but it's true. Now, the next state that I think is going to go 90% odds of going Democrat is probably Colorado. Will it regress because of the overall wave election year for the Republicans? Yes. Also, I think the generic ballot, if there is one, so to speak, for the Congress for the Republicans in 2022 will be something akin to like 7% Republican. Or you could just say it's like 2018 for the Democrats, but opposite. Okay? So what I mean is that if you're in a state like Arizona or Georgia that are swing states, the Republican is going to be favored by already like a cushion of like 5 to 7 points just based on the election year. So at that point, the Republican, all they need to do is just not mess up and win the election, but not shedding too many moderates, okay? So with that moderate electorate, you need to figure out how to win them over. And that's not going to be too important for the Republicans because, again, we are going to win all the swing states. That being said, there are some states that are going to be kind of bluish where we possibly could flip them. Candidates for these states would be Minnesota at the governor's level, Michigan sort of, New Hampshire, Maine, etc. Colorado, I think it's too far gone. Had you had this election taken place in 2014, maybe you could have flipped Colorado, and in fact we did at the Senate level with Cory Gardner. But yeah, that's more or less my opinion. I honestly do think that Colorado is way too liberal, and we saw this. Somebody who you'd think would be a good fit for Colorado, like Mitt Romney, lost to Obama by a couple points in the state in 2012, and we see Donald Trump lose by like 5 in 2016 and by over 10 in 2020. So astonishingly, the trend is just fucking terrible. I'm just gonna be honest here. Colorado is becoming the new Iowa for the Democrats, as in, like, Iowa's a very safe Republican, and we can say that Colorado is very safely blue. So that's that. Next state is going to be Iowa, with Chuck Grassley, I believe, running again for Senate, which is kind of weird because he's this old, but who cares at this point? Not a big deal. Nobody should be running in the primary for the Republicans, assuming Chuck Grassley is in good health, which, has a good chance of not being the case. So it'll go safe red either way. You can see his electoral waves every time he runs. He's the GOAT of Iowa. Yeah, definitely. Anyways, Missouri should be contested at the primary level, but not necessarily at the statewide federal level. When you're looking at the Senate election, it should be a safe red state. The closest it's been recently was Josh Hawley in 2018. Josh Hawley, who is overrated as fuck. DeSantis Simps and all these other usual suspects on Twitter tend to like him a lot. I personally don't. And because of that fact, I'm going to go and say that he got close to losing in 2018 relative to like the election year. I also think that Missouri, despite it only going 3 points Republican in 2018 and a couple points Republican in 2016. I still see us winning by over 10 in 2022. With the more as the Trump coalition is more solidified there, I do think that it's going to be really hard for a Republican to get under 10% of the vote in the positive. Okay, now that was a very convoluted way of explaining the way I was thinking, but anyways, let's go ahead and keep moving towards the goal here, which is to cover every single swing state. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Florida with Marco Rubio, former 2016 presidential candidate. He is going to be a person in a position of power, and does hold some key positions in the Senate. He does have an accomplished record insofar as people can probably look at him and be like, okay, he's gotten some shit done. Running as a 50-year-old man will help him this time. He's got the right aesthetic for the Senate in Florida in particular. No homo. And he overall has just not botched it that much. The stain of 2016 is pretty much gone. And insofar as the stain of 2016 was there, making him look like a bitch compared to Trump, it didn't really work anyway because he won in 2016, and Rick Scott, who isn't charismatic at all, won the 2018 election in a wave Democrat year. Given that fact, I do honestly think that Marco Rubio will very easily win in 2022. And what are the Democrats going to run against him? Like the black chick Val Demings? Who the fuck is that? Who cares? So overall, unless Marco shits the bed, is a confirmed pedo or something, they're not going to kill him. He's going to win. In fact, I do think he's going to win by a safe margin, if not by like a likely margin. So it depends on who they run. If they run a nobody, he'll probably win by like 12. If they run a somebody, he'll probably win by 8. So I'll just go ahead and give him the safe win because I think he won by 8 points in 2016, but I'm not sure. So consider that 2016 was a D+2. So keep that in mind. Now we're at 46-46, so we're trading blows here with the Demon Craps. That's a joke. Let's keep going. North Carolina won't be that contested with Ted Budd, solid MAGA candidate. He's going to keep all the Trump people, which is more than enough to win the state of North Carolina twice, 2016 and 2020. And with the electorate being R+7, hypothetically, we could definitely see North Carolina go like 8 points Republican in this case. So I can say it'll go likely. And the people that they're running against Ted Budd aren't the best. They're not sending their best. I can't even name them. That's how bad they are. Who gives a shit? Anyways, Pennsylvania is another important state, but I'll probably go to the state of New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a state that I would have said almost 100% would have gone Republican had Chris Sununu run, but now he said he's not going to run, so I'm just going to take him at his word, and he won't. In this case, I do think that it'll be more difficult to win, but given the fact that Trump lost by less than 7 points in both 2016 and 20, and we do have an R+7 electorate in my scenario, I do honestly think that at that point, the generic Republican would probably win by a tilt margin over, I think her name is Maggie Hassan. In particular, she's not very popular from what I remember, and she also isn't going to bring a lot of charisma to the debate stage or anything like that. So if we run a guy who has Trump's electorate, like the people that voted for him in both elections, plus, isn't so bad with the moderates as Trump was in the independents, then I do think we can win this one tilt because of the red wave. Had this been like the 2018 electorate, we would get obliterated. No cap. Anyways, now that we're up to, I can discuss the Ohio Senate race, which is quite interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of people running. In this case, I would probably say that when you're looking at the candidates, we have Jane Timken, who's fucking irrelevant. Everybody who talked about her wasted their time, including me. She's not going to win. J.D. Vance, who is theoretically populist and right-wing, but at the same time, he is also married to an Indian lady, which is like, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it's like, what's your judgment call here? It's kind of like marrying a fat bitch. It's like, dude, what are you thinking? Or a girl with like lazy eyes. There's nothing immoral about that. I just think it's kind of weird, okay? So, just think about it twice, all right? So, would you guys marry an Indian lady? And if that's the case, should you be in the Senate? I'm just saying. And his wife isn't hot, by the way. I'll just keep that in, So, also, he's associated with Peter Thiel. He's getting bankrolled by Peter Thiel at the tune of over $10 million, I believe. And, Peter Thiel is good on most of the issues, but, again, he has some of this transhumanist stuff, a lot of this, technocrat ideology that I don't like, and he's also a little, obviously he's a fruit. Okay, so he is gay, so that is kind of sus for your mentor to be a homo. But again, I'll cut him some slack here. And, if J.D. Vance were to win the primary somehow and get the Trump endorsement, I'm definitely sure that he'll eviscerate whoever he runs against. I think if we run J.D. Vance and Trump endorses him and does rallies with him, I think that J.D. could probably win by like 11 points. I think he could do really well. I think he'll get literally almost all of the Trump people, plus probably some moderates, some smart ass moderate, Yale graduate that's somehow still in Ohio. I guess that's the demographic he appeals to. But yeah, will he get the primary endorsement? I really don't think so. I'm not sure at all, but definitely not certain that he will. And again, there's some personal animus that he has for Trump. He thinks he's smarter than Donald, and Donald hates that, and that gets under his skin, rightfully so, because it's like, well, bitch, I was the president, like I'm smarter than you. And then JD's like, well, no, actually, industrial policy, this. Oh, my faggot mentor told me this about you. Like, shut up, JD, you bitch. You're married to a Curry, bro. It's over for you. So, do I think JD Vance will be the next senator? Probably not. I'd give his odds at 30%. So there's a 50-50 chance that he'll win the primary. And then there's probably like a 80% chance he wins the general election. So given that, I'd say he probably has like a 30% chance of being the next senator from the state of Ohio. And then on to the next candidate would be Josh Mandel. Josh Mandel is a guy who endorsed Trump in 2016, but also was a Rob Portman type of guy. Campaigned with Mitt Romney in 2012. The same year he got destroyed for the Senate by Sherrod Brown, I believe. Josh Mandel is a career politician. Now, that being said, he was a veteran, I believe, and overall, I mean, he has been a consistent Republican. So, and also like career politician, like J.D. Vance would have been a career politician had he been smart, but he wasn't because he was over here writing books, and I mean, good book, but again, not very politically active until recently. And even when he was politically active in 2017, he was cringe. So keep that in mind about JD Vance. He's only been on the right side for like 3 years. Anyways, Josh Mandel also isn't the biggest Trump guy. Now he says he is now, and I'm sure that he would definitely vibe with Trump now. But he definitely wasn't MAGA like originally. He definitely wasn't on 4chan. He definitely was not part of the meme war 5 years ago, like we all were, I suppose. So again, he's not that much better than JD Vance. But again, there's some shit on him too, like him cross-dressing for the high school photo. I don't think he's gay, but that is kind of, sus. I think that's kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Not as bad as Ralph Northam, I suppose, but still. And overall, I think that Trump would endorse him, but I don't think he's impressed by Josh Mandel. So that's the state of the race right now. I think that Josh Mandel would also probably win by like 7 or 8 points. It wouldn't be that hard. Again, a Republican would have to really fuck up to lose. Ohio, okay? That being said, we're moving on to the next election. Okay, so we'll just leave it safe R for now. Next state we're going to be talking about is the great state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin is going to be one that is going into the history books as, just kidding, I don't really care. The point is that Wisconsin is sort of, I mean, it'll go in the history books as being one of the swingiest states of the last 15 years. We saw Georgia Bush nearly win it in 2001. Well, no, it'd be 2000, 2004. Obama won it by a lot in 2008, 12. Trump won it by 2016. Then Trump barely lost it in 2020. Wink, wink. And overall, I do see Wisconsin flipping at the governor's level, and the Senate is going to stay Republican, by the way. I say this because given the fact that we see Ron Johnson winning by more than Trump in 2016, and assuming he were to run, hypothetically, that would be an easy win with the Republican electorate swaying in his favor. But assuming that doesn't happen, any other candidate that isn't terrible will win in 2022. And don't let the 2018 result trick you into thinking that the Democrats have some sort of lead at the Senate level in Wisconsin, because that's far from the case, okay? Not true at all. Okay, this will be an easy win. I'll say likely just to play it safe. I think we could win Wisconsin by like 8 points. Okay, because remember, we're going to win the Republican vote. There's going to be more Republicans than Democrats, and we are going to be winning the independents in most of these states. With inflation as bad as it is, foreign policy being a disaster, a dementia-ridden president, shitty, like no effort, no, just basically like he's not getting much done. Joe Biden isn't, and he's not in control, and people know this. Okay, gas prices. I mean, it's a fucking disaster. Anyways, we are at a tied Senate, but we need one more because Kamala is a vice president at this point, probably. So, in this case, Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, I believe, is going to go Republican, obviously. Now, this Senate primary is kind of interesting because we have Dr. Oz, who's a Turkish guy, no friend or red eagle, by the way. You know, Armenians on suicide watch when he wins the nomination in a year from now. But anyways, Dr. Oz is a guy who had a TV show. He was like a B-list celebrity for a long time, and overall has had some weird positions to take. So he was anti-lockdown for a while, but again, most people were, and you know he still simped for the vaccine and all this. But most Republicans do, and then so it's a pretty mixed record on that. And then when you look at him like supporting transgender operations like 10 years ago, like if that, at least I've heard Red Eagle say this. If that's the case, that's really weird because it'd be one thing if you were cooking to the trainees like now, but cooking to them 10 years ago when they were still unpopular is beyond me. Okay, the trans thing wasn't even an issue until like 2015 or 16. So for him to be being open to them like being a thing 10 years ago is ridiculous. So assuming that's true, fuck him. But yeah, so socially he's definitely not on the right side. Now if he's pro-life, that's the bare minimum for him to get the conservative vote. But overall, I do think that he's too socially liberal for the state. I don't think that's that big of a deal electorally, but again, we are going to win the state no matter what. So at this point, we can afford to be a little more right wing on these social issues, and get the country on the right course instead of just winning states and getting nothing done. In this case, I would say that Pennsylvania would go Republican by a lean margin. With Dr. Oz, I think he can get the Trump endorsement theoretically. Now, there are some better candidates out there that could run hypothetically, like Scott Perry. We all like Scott Perry. He's a congressman. He's a Trump Republican. But at the same time, we have to consider that if he doesn't run and we're stuck with Dr. Oz, he is better than some of the alternatives, better than maybe Ryan Costello, maybe. So he's like maybe like a C tier candidate. But overall, name recognition and all this should help him to win somewhat easily over John Fetterman, who's an ugly ogre, piece of shit, socialist, or fake moderate Connor Lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Anyways, the point is that we are going to win Pennsylvania by a lean margin. No matter who the candidate is, probably we should be able to win this by like 4. I mean, it depends wildly on who the Democratic nominee, whether he's an ugly socialist or a faux moderate, you know, pretty boy. We're gonna see what happens. Okay. Again, no homo. Anyways, so we're at 51 seats. We have the Senate now. We have 3 more states to talk about. Right now, I'll cover the state of Georgia. Georgia is pretty important at the Senate level. I would say personally that it's one of the states that could flip very easily to the Republican Party. I will give Georgia the Republican advantage for sure. We saw it barely go to the Biden people last year. Wink, wink again. Also, keep in mind that Joe Biden is the type of nigga. Sorry. Joe Biden be the type of nigga to not help Raphael Warnock in 2022 at all. At all. I personally think that he would definitely not be able to rally the people that won him the election in the first place. Wink, wink. So with that being said, with the anti-Trump sentiment going down in 2022, I just don't see the Trump-Biden voters, the few of them that exist, going for Warnock. And I think that Raphael Warnock doesn't have a record to speak on. He just does not have a record to stand on, in the Senate as of right now, and he probably won't. So, you know, what is he going to go to Georgia with? Oh, hey guys, I got nothing done, and vote for me because the Republicans are bad. Don't think that's going to work. Fat Stacey and radical liberal Raphael Warnock are going to go to the trash heap of history. They're fucking done. They're both going to lose the election in 2022. In fact, I will think that, what am I saying? Whoops. I do think that the Republicans are going to win this by a lean margin, with Herschel Walker. Now, please, guys, if you want to do yourselves a favor, do not look up Herschel Walker's son. Do not look up Christian Walker. And while you're at it, do not look up Patrick Mahomes either. Okay? You're going to get disappointed. Okay? Anyways, Herschel Walker, cool guy, NFL veteran, XFL hero, name recognition through the roof. Played on the Vikings, the Cowboys. Did he play on the Falcons? I'm not sure. It'd be kind of cool if he did. I don't remember. So, yeah, black dude, MAGA. I mean, this is going to work really well for Georgia, okay? Anyways, Republican Arizona, of course. But obviously, I'm going to talk about Nevada. I think Nevada is going to go lean Republican as well. Adam Laxalt is a competent candidate who outperformed the trend in Nevada. He made it a couple points closer than it should have been in Nevada when he ran for, I think, governor in 2018. So given that fact, I do think that he's going to be able to do really well in an environment that's going to be Republican in the state of Nevada. And so given that, I will probably give him the state of Nevada. And I do think that we're going to win Arizona as well. I think that Arizona is going to go lean R. Mark Kelly is overrated as fuck, and he's gotten nothing done. And the whole like I'm a moderate completely was blown apart when Joe Biden made him vote for literally every single thing he had to vote for. So if he's voted for everything Joe Biden has proposed, then what makes you think he's a moderate? And if Joe Biden's disapproved in the state of Arizona, how will that vote for him in Arizona? So overall, it's going to be very easy for Blake Masters or whoever the candidate is to beat him. The generic ballot should be Republican in Arizona. So by that logic, it would be extremely difficult for the bald astronaut to pull this off. So for that reason, I will give the Republicans 54 Senate seats in 2022. Okay, so 2022, the Republicans take back the Senate for 54 to 46 seats, more or less. And I'm pretty confident this will be the result. Now, obviously, I did hit backspace on my mouse before I could finish the map. So now you have a blank one. You're welcome, guys. See you on the next video.